Welcome to INN CEO Talks. Joining me today is Chris Frostad, the founding partner of Purepoint Uranium. Chris, great to see you again. Thank you for joining me today.
Nice to be back.
You know, the last time that you were on, we were talking a lot about your Hook Lake project, and it is a significant project for you, but you also have a portfolio of other projects, and one in particular now has become your number one priority, that being Red Willow's Osprey Zone. Let's start there.
Sure. Well, we do have quite a large portfolio that we've been managing and maintaining and growing during the down period of uranium. And, you know, this bull market that we're in the middle of has actually given us an opportunity to go back and revisit all of those projects. So I'd say over the last year and in the coming year, we'll have done fresh, up-to-date work on field work on all of those projects, which is great. And it helps us reprioritize and apply the most current technologies to what we're up to. So it's been a great year behind us, and I think it's going to be a good year ahead of us. As you pointed out, in particular, our Red Willow project, which is a fairly large project we have on the northeastern edge of the Athabasca Basin. It's right in that line of mines that run up the east side. And we're following up on a uranium lens that we identified some time ago at the Osprey Zone. And what we found in the last drill season, which this past winter, is as we started to move out from it, we continued to hit that same level of radioactivity. And even more importantly, we're making large step outs. So typically when people find something of that ilk, they'll start doing 10, 15, 20, 50 meter, 100 meter step outs. We were doing 300 meter step outs. From that lens, and every time from every drill pad, we kept hitting that same radioactivity to the point where we followed it nearly a mile. It was 1.2 kilometers, and we only got stopped by the winter ending and us getting into the spring period. So what we're looking at is something that looks almost identical to what we started to see when we moved into our Spitfire Zone deposit out on our Hook Lake project. But this is much larger. For us to continuously hit radioactivity over 1.2 kilometers indicates that there's been a fairly significant mineralization event occur in that region. And we're kind of chasing the tail of a tiger and looking specifically for the appropriate structure and setting where that uranium would have found a proper place to deposit. So with those results behind us now, we have kind of jigged around our priorities and what we're going to do next. And in September, we'll be going back with the drill to the Osprey Zone. We had planned on starting at our Turner Lake project this September, but we're going to start with Red Willow, continue to follow up on all that radioactivity we're hitting, and by the end of the season, we do hope to get out and start doing some work at our Turner Lake project.
So with the Red Willow project, as you move into the next stage, what do you anticipate will be your timelines around being able to fully identify or characterize what the ore body is that's there, the uranium body that's there, and then where do you go from there?
Sure. So what we're looking for specifically, I mean, now that we're actually chasing real uranium, is we're looking for a place where it would have deposited properly. And in order to do that, what we would find is alteration. So where that mobilized uranium, because of the heat and oxygen that's involved, would have altered the surrounding rock. It's like clay when you get to it. And when we start seeing that, that is a good indication that we're getting even closer to our target. And the other thing, as I mentioned before, is structure. We're looking for those faulted areas where the uranium could have mineralized and moved into a deposit. You see it in a number of the different deposits in the area or resources. MacArthur River, for instance, it's at a thrust fault where that area allowed things to deposit. Out at NextGen's Arrow deposit, you know that there's a lot of structure that took it deep, which is why it's a much deeper deposit than some of the surrounding things. Our last hole at Red Willow, we did start to run into that sort of alteration and that sort of structure, and that's really what we've been looking for. Again, because things are starting to melt out there, it kind of chased us out for the season. But when we get back in, that's really where we're going to start to move in and test those structures and hopefully identify where we see larger amounts of uranium formation occurring. And then it's a matter of just keeping the drill going and seeing how big it gets.
So if we take a look at where the market for uranium is right now, it's clearly moving in a direction where the supply side is starting to tighten up. It's going to take a couple more years for us to be able to exhaust that. How does what's happening here at Red Willow sort of fit into the timeline of the increase in demand for uranium in the years ahead?
Well, sure. I mean, this bull market that we're in now, and I say we're kind of in the middle of it, has really allowed us to get back out in earnest. It's what we do is not cheap, and it requires a fair amount of money to properly get out and drill test these targets, millions and millions of dollars. So during the downtime, it's very difficult to apply the amount of money necessary to really do proper follow-up and find and make these discoveries. What we're seeing now is the price of uranium has come up significantly. But it is still 25 to 50% away from the incentive price. And when I say the incentive price, we're talking about that price uranium has to get to before you would start to build a new mine or open up an existing mine that's been put on maintenance. So we've still got that push to go. And what it's allowed us to do is to very, very strategically do financings along the way. So at the beginning of 2021, when we saw things were really starting to rock, we had a significant rise in our share price. We were able to put together an appropriate amount of money to do the next phase of work. In last December, when we saw things starting to ease off, where we normally would have been raising money, we raised less money, but we were able to get a good premium on it. And then we waited for the markets to come back up even more again, and completed another financing about a month ago. So, we've been able to selectively pick those high points to do our financings and to provide us with the equity and the capital we need to continue working. We've got a little over $5 million in the bank right now, and that allows us to keep moving along at the pace we are, despite what we're seeing in the markets out there right now. So I think with the price of uranium still has a lot of room to go. I think right now we're seeing a big pullback in the markets in general, commodities in general, and uranium is getting hit with that same sort of malaise. But I think as we start to see things come back, uranium still has that underpinning, that foundational economic story that says that it will continue to go right back to where it was and keep moving north as we expect it to do so.
Let's shift over to your Hook Lake project because you talked that you have the resources to be able to move forward still with Red Willow, but you're also moving forward with Hook Lake. What's the situation there right now?
Sure. So we've actually shifted, our partners and I and ourselves. That's a joint venture we have with Cameco and Orano. We have focused to date on that Center Patterson corridor that runs up and on trend with Fission's RRR and NextGen's Arrow deposit. There's about 350 million pounds of uranium between the two of them there. But we're understanding that area so much better now than we might have 10, 15 years ago. And what we've seen is an area just to the west, and it's called the Carter Corridor. And it resides completely on our project, so no one else has tested it to this point. And it was where we started a little over 10 years ago when we went to the Hook Lake project. And when everything lit up over Patterson, we moved our gaze over to there. We're looking back there again because what we now understand that we didn't understand so many years ago was we're looking not for unconformity deposits, but we're looking for basement-hosted deposits. And B, we now understand where the uranium was coming from. It was coming from the west. And there was a heat source called the Clearwater Domain that was mobilizing that uranium to the east and across, and it would have hit the Carter Corridor actually before it hit the Patterson Corridor. So it's now become a focus, and we're in the next month we'll be doing a deep sensing airborne survey, geophysical survey over that area to really define the targets that we want to hit. We've gone back and looked at the core from the one drill program that we carried out there over 10 years ago. And we're now recognizing that rock as something far more significant than we did 12 years ago. And we all now believe that this is probably one of the most prospective areas left in the basin to find a tier 1 deposit. 150 million pounds. So it's a wide open area. It's got all the right clues. It's got everything we look for, and it's right in the heart of that big uranium district that's growing there. So we're quite excited to get back there. I think we'll be doing our airborne work in the next month, as I mentioned, month or so, and then we've put forward a drill proposal to our partners, and that would be the next stage.
So for investors, this is a pretty interesting intersection of events that are coming together that make looking at Purepoint a good investment to consider and. Absolutely. I think we've been following the other equities, pretty much marching along like everybody else, up and down over the last while. And I think right now, as we look at our prospects at Red Willow, which are huge, it's a band of radioactivity that we've never seen before for all the drilling we've done along the basin. So we're excited to get back there. That's on the horizon. What we have planned at Hook Lake coming up soon. And then over the summer, we are doing geophysical work and field work across all of our other projects as well. Our Tavernor projects, our Carson Lake, Russell South. And these are all projects at various stages of advancement that haven't been drilled yet, and we're just getting ready to put them in the hopper when the time is right. So there's so much happening right now. I think the equities right now are at a low point. Uranium has got nothing but upside to it over the next little while, and we've got all the ammunition we need to keep things rolling. So I think it's a great time for investors who have been loyal to uranium and new ones even that want to get into it. Well, it's been an exciting conversation, and I sure hope you're going to come back with updates in the coming months. Thanks for your time today.
Absolutely. Great. Thank you.